Hello, everyone. This is Michelle with Dream Radio 92.9, and we will jump right in with the interview with Britney and Tina.
What's going on in that beautiful mind? I'm going on a magical mystery ride.
Thanks again, ladies, for being in the studio. We have a question from one of our listeners. She was pursued by this guy for several weeks, and then when they got to the restaurant, after she ordered and she ate, he told her to pay for her own meal. What are your thoughts on that?
I would have been like, why you ask me to come out here and you're not going to pay for it? But no, for real, it will just be his first and last date with me. So therefore, I just think that it just depends on what type of date it is. If it's just a friendly date, like, we're just friends, long-time friends, then okay, but I think I would get that understanding before I actually go out with that person.
Okay, what do you think, Brett?
I personally think it matters, the dynamic, the chemistry, the type of relationship that you are building with this person. I personally don't like to go on dates where men are paying for my dinner because it comes with an expectation that I bought your dinner, so you owe me at the very least, your time. So if I'm buying my own dinner, if I didn't really feel the vibes, I didn't really feel a connection, I go home. Afterwards, no strings attached. I was going to eat one way or another, and that's that for me.
Okay, fair enough. So would both of you agree that chivalry is dead? And that's what it sounds like I'm hearing you guys say.
I don't think so. I just think that we're in a fast-paced dating era, meaning that everything is kind of literally at your fingertips. I can literally pull up my phone and date 6 men right now. So with that being said, you kind of have to, with the market being the way, you have to deal with it the way that it's presented. It's like you don't expect microwave food to taste like it does when it comes out of an oven. So if you're doing express dating or you're going online and you're not really making genuine connection with people from a face-to-face standpoint, you shouldn't expect the chivalry, so to speak, when you're getting into these dates and connections with these people who don't know you, from Jane or Jill.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So, Tina, let me ask you this, because I know prior to the interview, we kind of talked about the dating apps. So I'd like both of you to kind of speak on what's that like. And I know catfishing, both of you know what catfishing is. Have you been on a dating app and been catfished? And if you have, what was your response to that?
Well, I'm a little old school, so therefore I like things to be more organic, meeting someone in an organic fashion or form. So I haven't really did the dating apps, even though I'm not knocking it, because really if you don't go anywhere or put yourself out there, then how are you going to find someone in the same circle or in the same mindset that you have if you're just going around the same people, same places? So therefore, what are you going to expect differently? So I believe that the dating apps is something that, it's just in the time that we're in right now. So therefore, do I knock people trying it? No, I just haven't tried it yet, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to try it either. So I think from the people I know on a younger realm, there are a lot of people that is dealing with the dating app, and I hear from them that, sometimes it could be something consistently like just, next. So it just depends on, what you're expecting out of it. I'm still on the bandwagon of meeting someone naturally, but then I shouldn't have my expectancies to be up high up, because if I'm not in that space or place, I don't know what I'll get in return.
Okay, and Britt, you've had a little bit of experience. Tell me one of the funniest experiences or the weirdest experiences from a dating app.
There's a lot. I don't necessarily know they were funny, but you definitely meet a variety of personalities. Like she said, they're kind of in and out. It literally is like Russian roulette. You just one little stick, maybe not. As far as personal experiences, I have a lot of, you talk today, you don't talk tomorrow, talk for 3 days, and I never hear from you ever again, and vice versa. I don't necessarily know if I have any funny experiences. Did have a crazy experience, and this particular guy went on my social media, which is now private, by the way, and took pictures of my children, of myself, things like I could find where you live from your IP address, and he made a lot of really weird comments, and yeah, that was probably my first dating experience online. So
wow, that sounds a little scary. And that kind of goes right into my next question, because we have a lot of listeners who are saying that they pretty much are giving up on dating because of the in and out, or you might meet somebody or you might not the next day. But do you guys feel, because we actually had the pleasure of interviewing some pastors a little earlier today, and they were talking about foundation. So do you guys agree or disagree, even in the dating phase, that if it's going to be successful, either being all the way single or getting into a relationship, you have to start with a foundation?
I agree with that. I also feel like giving up is not really, I don't believe that we should give up, because I know where I am or how I feel. I know I'm a genuine person, so I feel like if I'm on the dating apps and I'm looking, then there has to be someone else who is at least like me to some capacity. So yeah, I may have to go through a dozen frogs to find my prince, or for him to find me, but I do feel like at the end of the day, he's out there.
Yeah, I feel the same way, to not to give up on love, or I believe that if God asks me, I shall receive it, so just at this moment, it's just not my time, but in due time, I will receive.
Okay, so we're going to switch gears just a little bit, only because you brought what God has for you is for you, which is the definite truth. So we're going to play devil's advocate for just a little bit. With going through the process of dating and just finding yourself, do you guys think that there's a possibility that there will be open doors, soul ties, things of that nature? Would either of you like to speak on that?
Will there be opportunities for soul ties? And
is there a danger with getting soul ties and connections, even if it's the just meeting people? And
yeah, I feel like everywhere you go, you run the risk of making a connection with someone that may not spiritually be in a place that they need to be, and of course those are transferable. And so I know at some point I was feeling extremely anxious for weeks at a time. Didn't really know why. Not saying this particularly the person I was dealing with at the time, but I learned later on that he was dealing with some things of his own, which I personally feel like was projected onto me, just simply because we were connected in a sense, even if it was just from a friend's standpoint. I feel like whoever you connect with definitely does tie to you to some capacity. And of course, the deeper the connection you have with that person, the deeper that tie is.
Absolutely. And what about you, Tina?
You just need to know when to pull away if you're not getting the same reciprocated. Because sometimes, we can go in because we feel like that's the one, but then there's some blurred lines that it start disconnecting, and you have to know when that disconnect start happening that you can truly disconnect from it, and not be so vulnerable, but just say that, hey, I love this feeling. I'm glad that we can connect, but then sometimes it's not a true connection. It's just a want, but not that need that you need to have in your life to be successful in whatever great relationship that you gain.
Okay, so, and since we're still staying in that realm, we do have a question from a praise and worship leader, and I'll pause right there. Both of you guys are praise and worship leaders at Greater Grace Church, correct? All right, so they have questions in regards to with singing and, I guess, let me rephrase it. The question was, as a leader, do you sometimes have to make a decision to just focus completely on your ministry? Or where's that line drawn to where you feel like, as we said, getting pulled in or pushed out? Have either of you had to experience where you said, well, let me step back and try to get a closer relationship with God so I can start working on my personal relationship?
Yes.
You want to elaborate on that?
Even if it's outside of like my position in the church or, you know, just in general, one of the biggest things is knowing who, you know, staying true to who you are, knowing who you are as a person in order to be connected to someone else, because like we just talked about, there's things that come with making connections with people. And it's really easy for that to become overwhelming. And I have been in places and times where I felt overwhelmed meeting people, talking to people. Not only is it exhausting, or it can be exhausting, it also plays a big part on your mental, your spiritual, because you have to be able to stay grounded and stay focused. And sometimes I would have to take a step back and like, you know what? It's been cool, it's been fun, but now it's my time. You know, and just really dial into that before I can go back and intertwine my time and myself with other people.
That's good. What about you, Tina?
Same. You know, sometimes it gets to a point when you can't see things clear. So therefore, that's when you need to pull away. So before you just start putting yourself into a situation that you're not able to focus. And so there's been times where I have to pull away, you know, and really try to hear from God. Like, hey, this is not for me. So God hears you. Just, you know, your time to ask God what you need.
That's good. That's good. So I'm going to play, I hate to say devil's advocate, so I'm just going to ask a question. So when we, as praise and worship leaders, since we basically, they talk about leading people and guiding people. So one of the questions was, there's a particular worship leader who's struggling right now, letting go of a particular person, but she has to go to church to get her breakthrough in order to just maintain. Do you guys agree with that? Because on the flip side, one person was saying they pulled back, and this particular person is saying she actually had to go harder in order to maintain.
I definitely feel like it's a personal thing. You know, everyone's different. Everybody's walk is different. Everybody's, you know, connection with God is different. Everyone's level is different. And so wherever she is, I mean, whomever she may be, it's definitely a personal thing. She has to make that her own connection with God and make her own decision. Because everyone can give suggestions on what makes the most sense to them, and your situation may not apply to my situation. Your strongholds might not be my strongholds. You know, I may struggle with, I've been told I'm overly empathetic, which can make me gullible in a sense, you know, because I give people second and third chances, because I don't take people's actions as necessarily a reflection of who they are, but just that, an action. And so with that being said, this next person, her thing may be, you know, issues of feeling abandoned. And so there's different places for different people. And so you got to do what makes the most sense in your walk.
That's good. And Tina?
I agree exactly what she said in regards to that. I agree.
So it just sounds like it's personal regardless.
Yeah.
Like if whatever decision is made, it has to be the best decision for you to go to the next level.
Yep. I believe that's it.
I believe.
All right, and since Brittany's thrown it, I believe in it. Tell me one of the funniest or craziest things that's happened, like, or lines that somebody has given to get your attention.
Let me think.
The craziest things to come to my attention.
I had some really corny lines.
Yeah.
You know, hey, are you taking a trip? Because you've been running through my mind all day. Somebody said that to me.
Very corny.
Hey, how you doing? I knew that you were my wife, so I came up to say hello.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
We're twin flames. I don't know. People say weird stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and since you mentioned twin flames, do you guys know the backstory on twin flames?
Partially. Mostly. Yeah. It's zodiac. It's astrology.
So have either of you ever been able to see somebody and it's not judging them, but you can kind of pick up that their intentions on dating are just kind of way off from the direction that you're going to? And if so, how did you deal with it?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a very direct person though, so I just tell people.
Yeah. I've let it go on for a while, and then it gets to the point that I can't deal with it anymore. Like, it's just a waste of time, So then I start, I'm not gonna say acting out, but then I start letting it be shown that it's not worth my time. So therefore, I believe that some people get complacent and just get comfortable, and so they just feel like everything is good. And so therefore, somebody got to stand and say, "Hey, what are we doing here? What's our purpose here?" Because I don't need someone just to be, in the space,
So you're referring to actual relationship, not somebody coming up to you?
Yeah. You talking about just like if someone just come up to me, how do I react towards them, or?
Well, that was the initial question, but you walked into something that was really good, like being in a relationship, and you can kind of see, well, this is not going anywhere. How do you handle that? And what would you say to somebody who's in that position?
I don't know.
In that position. Yeah.
Keep trying.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Important.
Boundaries. That's a really good start. So what you guys say is safe to say, even in a dating, if you're doing an app and you're going from person to person, you have to have boundaries, even if you don't really know this person yet. You set those boundaries up for realistic expectations.
You absolutely have to. People are like vultures. They will feed on, especially if they feel like you're weak or you're kind. I tell people, I went on a date a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, "I'm not really looking for anything serious." And I said, "Well, I'm not really looking for casual this or that." And he was like, "Well, I mean, you never know, it might grow to something." And I said, "Well, I'm not interested in growing into something. You either want this or you don't. Like, that's it." And so I think he took it with a little bit of salt. He didn't necessarily like it, but I've learned that you get a lot more respect that way for people, and you don't waste time, because after that, he really was trying to pursue a relationship with me, but I had already made in my mind that I was not interested because he wasn't interested to begin with. So don't want anything that's going to be flimsy. I already got enough flimsy things in my life to deal with.
Yeah. That's good.
And a lot of people take these apps for granted, or take people for granted. They say one thing, but they show another thing. They say that, hey, I want to be in a relationship and a commitment, and as soon as you take one or two dates with them, then all of a sudden it's a whole different story. I really want to be just a friend, or I just want to spend time with you. But I've asked the question before, like, why do you get on dating apps and stuff when this is not what you really want to do? And they say, no, that's not true, but right now I just feel like it's just not a good time.
All right, guys, that was episode 2, Keeping It Classy, Dating in 2024 with Katina M and Britney B. I can't wait to air the next episode. Stay tuned for more.